Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com, and this will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, July 8th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses technical charts within your decision-making process as a trader, or maybe you're somebody that's just looking to learn more about technical analysis, maybe you've never heard of it, but you're open-minded and thinking, hey, I realize there's lots of trader tools out there that could be used. So in either situation, this will be a video for you. But real quickly, for those that are maybe completely unfamiliar with technical analysis, how it can be used, how it should be used, what it is, and if as I go through the video, you're wanting to learn more, specifically how can you use it to build consistency as a trader, then I do want to invite you to this live class that I am offering on Thursday, July 8th. So tomorrow, assuming you're watching this here on Wednesday, and you can just go to, like I said, if you're on the site already, just click on one of the various areas. But if you're on YouTube and watching this, down in the description box, I'll put a link below. But yeah, I want to personally invite you to join the live class. That'll be Thursday, and it'll definitely expand upon the type of stuff that you see in this video. So the first stock here, ticker symbol XELA, did this analysis in yesterday's top 10. And wow, what a great day. Now, it actually started off relatively shaky. I mean, things were looking great. And then all of a sudden the price pulled back, which you can see right there. And then was just basically like, oh, just kidding. And then just basically beast moded the rest of the day. Has now broken through both of these areas of resistance. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level and just make one quick update. And this update just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So moving forward now, well, the newest areas is at 280. And 280 would be the ideal level, meaning for Ask Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute best going forward? In my opinion, $2.80, if the price can maintain above there, that would definitely be a great sign of power. But now what about levels of resistance? Because the price has cleared through both of those areas of resistance, as you just saw. So for this situation, we're going to have to squeeze down the chart and go back quite a bit into the chart's history here. And I realize the chart's getting hard to see, but that's always a good problem to have because we are literally going back way into March here. So quite literally with the movement today, we're now sitting at levels that have not been seen for multiple months. And the next key overarching level of resistance now to watch very closely, going to be, let's try another tool. There we go. Going to be right up there at $3.60. So 360, next key battleground to watch very closely. And then after 360, next key battleground to watch would be that gap close location right up there around 380. So 360, 380, next couple of key roadblocks that need to be cleared. But all in all, very, very impressive movement today. Next one here, ticker symbol DARE, and big volume poured into this one on the day. And what I like about this setup is it's very straightforward. As of now, yeah, there's no doubt about it. Big gap up and then has pulled back quite a bit. So this may be the end of the line, which is why it's always important, well, to wait for at least some bit of confirmation that maybe this is not the end of the line. Maybe the bulls are going to all of a sudden reverse things around and make another nice move, which this one has shown it can move very big. But that does bring up the question, okay, well, what sort of area could you use as the confirmation? And with the pattern here that's formed, and in my opinion, again, at least, quite straightforward. Right there at $2.10, going to be a very interesting level, and basically the breakout point, which don't get me wrong, does not guarantee that. So I'm not saying that if the price gets up to 210 and breaks up through it, then for sure guaranteed the price is going up to that area. Guarantees don't exist. My point here is that would illustrate and that would symbolize the fact that not only did this little miniature pullback stop, not only did it consolidate, not only did the price come back up, but the price was still able to actually now break up through that level, which again, doesn't guarantee anything, but makes it at least a rational thought to have, okay, maybe there is going to be some more push up through that level. As far as kind of the do or die level, in my opinion, it's all about that purple line right there, the 50 period moving average at, we'll call it $1.70, meaning if the price were to come down to that level and then just break down through it, at that point, you basically have the price having gone right back to where it was. And I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that explode and then go right back to where they were, not exactly a sign of genuine power. So not saying that's what's going to happen, but that's why in my mind, that $1.70 mark, definitely a very important level of support. But yeah, let's see if this thing can try to turn itself around and make another go up around $2.10. Next one here, ticker symbol AMC, and not a good day at all. No need to even beat around the bush with it. As it continued to drop down, actually broke through both of those levels of support that I talked about just yesterday on Tuesday. So certainly updates need to be done. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level. And the first big update, just based on a foundation rule and chart, which actually played out perfectly here today. So you could throw this right into a textbook. But the rule states that when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So going into the day, right around that 48.50-ish mark, give or take a little bit, was the level of support. But with the price gapping down below there, at that point, you'd expect it to act as resistance. And check it out, during that opening 30 minutes, represented by that candle right there, price came back up here, and surprise, surprise, look right where it got rejected back down, and down it went. Now, I'm not saying that the price can never get back above that area. All I'm saying is that in regards to this overarching trend line, which I've talked about time and time again, in these top 10 videos. My point here is that at this point, before you even put any sort of emphasis, any sort of really, attention on that level at all, the price first needs to prove itself by getting above 48.50. So yes, absolutely, that overall trend line is still that main level of resistance. But for now, don't even talk about that level until the price can at least show that it's got enough strength to get back up above 48.50. In terms of levels of support, nothing fancy here. Whoops, let me change that out of here. But nothing fancy here, other than the fact of, okay, well, where did the bleeding finally stop today? And that was down there at basically the $43 mark. So 43 for that reason and that reason alone is going to be where the key and important level of support is. So a nice little bounce here, but now it's just really a question of, can it at least just go sideways? I mean, it's not like the price has to go straight up, but can it at least start to go sideways? Because as of right now, there is a very clear downwards drift to it. So even at this point, sideways action, I would argue, would be just as good as any sort of upwards action. Next one here, ticker symbol DIDI, and I continue to do this one just because there's so much press. There's so much talk about it. Volume remaining strong is that you just never know when, one of these movements could really pick up a whole lot of momentum. Now, I did talk about this yesterday, talked about the final 30 minutes, but this one was very, very polite because going into the day, it was looking like, okay, maybe there's something bigger happen. But at least this morning, the price just flat out gapped down below that trend line. So at that point, case in point, what would have been a very cruel move is had the price, started to go back up and then just rolled back over. Because at that point, it would have made total sense to say, wow, okay, it's breaking out. And then to have it roll back over, yeah, that would just be cruel. That would be savage. But it was at least polite enough to say, no, we're just going to gap down. And not only is the price going to gap down, we're gapping down below that trend line there. So like I said, very polite in that regard. But this does now bring up the new area that I'm very curious about. Because now, basically twice now, the price has gone right down around 1150 and held strong. You had 1150 right there from Tuesday morning, and then multiple times today, you had the price holding strong there. So does that mean that this is for sure the bottom? Of course not. Does it mean it's at least a valid, a rational thought to be thinking, hey, you know what? Maybe 1150 is some sort of bottom. Maybe there is some sort of bounce that's coming. Yeah, that makes it a more than valid, more than rational thought. But as always, that's why risk management matters, because there's no guarantee. But now you can see that there is seemingly a lot of buyers down around 1150. So you want to keep a close eye on that. And then as far as kind of that new area of resistance, just keep an eye on that trend line there, and let's see if the price can even break above there. But yeah, interesting day today. The bottom maybe is finally forming, so let's keep an eye on 1150 and see if it can continue to hold. Next one here, ticker symbol TSLA, Tesla, and just another brutal move on this one as the price gapped up. And then, a very cruel gap up, though, because it gapped up, it acted like it wanted to be strong, and then that first 30 minutes just pulled back, broke down below that trend line that I talked about in yesterday's video, then broke down below that pink line there, which I talked about in yesterday's video. So, just a very brutal day because all sorts of these levels of support were broken and closed below. So I'm just going to get rid of those lines as they serve their purpose for now. So moving into Thursday now, newest level of support, really just that trend line right there. Same exact, basically almost a case of deja vu in terms of what I talked about in Tuesday's video. But same thing is, okay, the price has started to trend upwards here a little bit. But is this trend, is there any sort of strength behind this little miniature bounce or not? A great, first step into answering that question is just to watch that trend line there. So keep an eye on that. And then as far as resistance levels are concerned, very straightforward. Already talked about this principle, but that 200 period moving average was the support going into today. But because the price is now below it, you'd expect it to act as resistance. So for that reason, right up there, we'll call it 653 is going to be that main initial area of resistance for Tesla on Thursday there. But yeah, overall, this downwards trend continues. Next one here, ticker symbol AAPL, Apple. And I've had some people say, why aren't you talking about Apple? Why aren't you doing this one? And it's a fair question. It's a fair point. Because, really, there's really not much I can say because this thing is just a textbook uptrending stock right now. So, I'll get it at least mapped out there. If you're somebody that likes to play trends, well, then I'm not sure there's any better trends out there right now compared to Apple. But like I said, from a video presentation standpoint, all I can really sit here and say is, and this is all I'm going to say is, yeah, Apple just keeps on putting in higher highs, including today. It keeps on putting in higher lows, which it did once again today. So it's just good old-fashioned trend building. And I would say that Apple does show that it likes to pull back. So, would I be looking to buy, up around here? Probably not. Given that, like I said, it does like to pull back, might be wise, to wait for some sort of pullback. But to be fair, maybe Apple just decides to say, no, we're not pulling back here. We're going to just keep on exploding upwards. But the point here being is, yes, for those of you that comment and watch the videos, I love it. Thank you very much. Yes, I am aware of Apple. Yes, Apple's a great looking stock, but there's not a whole lot other you can say about it other than, yeah, it's just in a beautiful uptrend. So if you like uptrends, check it out. Next one here, ticker symbol NEGG. What a monster. And this is just me thinking out loud. I could be totally wrong, but seeing how AMC dropped today and how this one was just skyrocketing, you got to wonder, did some AMC money come over to this one? Maybe. Like I said, I don't have any proof of that. Just kind of bizarre to see how AMC, which, is ultimately a short squeeze stock, came down, and this one was just exploding upwards. But point here being, a whole lot of volume in this one today, meaning a whole lot of people will be continuing to be watching this one. And overall, like I said, just kind of talked about that with Apple. There is definitely a resistance up here, which is essentially where the party stopped today, up at we'll call it the $80 mark. Would I buy at 80? I don't know. That seems almost like chasing. But looking at the track record here and knowing that this thing does like to make moves and then kind of chill out, make moves and then chill out. Is it guaranteed to chill out? No, of course not. No guarantees. But would it be shocking to see this thing pull back and then ideally, chill out? I don't think anybody would be shocked by that, given the past track record of things. So in my mind, I think that's what's looking like it's going to happen. But to be fair, things got really, really crazy. So who knows? Maybe this thing's up at like $200 tomorrow. I don't know, but like I said, just from looking at the historical perspective and how it has behaved in the past, and then seeing how the day closed with the final 30 minutes, I wouldn't be shocked at all to see the price pull back some more. But I mean, that it's all a matter of risk tolerance and what you prefer. In terms of levels of support that do stand out, it does seem to be quite a bit of a solid consolidation area right there around the $54 mark. So maybe that would be an area to keep an eye on. But overall, point being, explosive move today. But now it's just a question of, does it need to consolidate a little bit? Or is this explosiveness just going to carry into Thursday? We'll see what happens. Next one here, ticker symbol SNDL. And what a monster. What a cruel day. Because, I mean, if you stop and think about it, at one point, the Bears were feeling fantastic. This thing is collapsing. And then it was like a cruel joke. The Bulls were like, hey, just kidding. Boom. I mean, literally straight up. There wasn't a single red candle. Yeah, all late morning and the rest of the day. I mean, just every 30 minutes, green candle. And then close out the day quite nice. Last 30 minutes of the day, huge volume, and then another big green candle. So like I said, I realize I state the obvious when I say this thing really came to life. But now it just brings up the question of, okay, yeah, it's come to life, but where are some of these next potential battlegrounds at that it'll now need to do battle with? So let's squeeze things down here a little bit. And on that note, I should just show that. I mean, not how strong of a day was it? Well, it broke up through the 50-period moving average, broke up through the 200-period moving average. So in the same day, broke up through two very well-known, very significant areas of resistance. Quite impressive. So where are some of these next potential battlegrounds at? Next overarching level, which I am very, very curious about, right up there at the dollar mark, not only because it's just a psychology level, right? Just a dollar, big old round number, but there's also already a track record of that area presenting quite a bit of a problem. Doesn't mean that a dollar can't be broken, but like I said, there is a track record there of that presenting problems. So I think all eyes are going to be on a dollar. Of course, first off, the price just has to get up to a dollar. But if it does, you're going to have lots of breakout players watching, wondering, can the price get up through that level? So we'll see what happens with it. On any sort of pullback, definitely would want to see the price maintain above, the 89-cent mark. As I, talked about in a previous stock, if the price were to come down there and then just break down through, well, now all of a sudden you have the price having gone basically right back to where it was, which is not any sort of sign of true bounce or true strength. But as of now, things are certainly looking very strong. So let's see how this one continues to play out on Thursday. Next one here, ticker symbol PLTR, and done this one several times before in past top 10 videos. And that is where these green line notations are coming from, both being areas of support. And I just point that out because it really kind of illustrates the fact that, yeah, today was a very rough day, gap down, and now the price has not only broken below both those areas of support, but it just kept on dropping. Whereas had the price at least maybe stayed around that area, then you can make the argument, okay, it's looking like sure the price is a little bit below the support, but it's still within the vicinity of it, so maybe it's not actually a true breakdown. But no, I mean, didn't even say within the vicinity, just kept on going. So, from that angle of things, yeah, definitely a very rough move there. And, from just a resistance standpoint, I think the best way to just monitor the resistances right now is all about that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. You can see back here already started to, behave as resistance. So that'll definitely be almost like a trend line that draws itself for you. So in terms of, just watching the resistance, quote unquote, trend line, just watch that 50-period moving average. Value right now being right there around $24.30. So yes, if there is any sort of attempted bounce, that's great that it's bouncing, but I'd be a little leery. I'd be a little skeptical of any sort of bounce until the price can first prove itself that it's truly strong. And okay, Clay, how are you quantifying, defining, prove yourself? Again, that's where keep an eye on that 50-period moving average. As far as levels of support are now concerned, where are some of these next potential areas where the price could find a bid, could find some buyers. And that next main area down there right around $22, and let me double check this, that former breakout point. Yeah, $22.25. Looking way back here, you can see this was a resistance point. So it just goes back to that foundational rule. When resistances are broken, which it broke right there, you'd expect them to act as support. And it did pull back, acted as support before resuming upwards. So if the price does pull back to $22.25, that is definitely going to be a very significant area of support. Next one here, ticker symbol NIO, and a very rough day on this one. Not necessarily because it was red, but because from a technical point of view, it just did something that it has not done for a very long time. So let me actually squeeze this down to offer up perspective. But that pink line, as you know by now, is the 200 period moving average. And you can see it broke above it way back there in late May. And since then, has been in a beautiful uptrend. There's been a couple instances where it's gone right down to that pink line, but in both those instances, it's held very nicely. So maybe you see where I'm headed with this is, but that was not the case today. Price came down to that pink line. The problem is it just kept going and going and going through the downside. Now, does that mean that this thing is collapsing back down to $32.50? I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is it is a warning signal that, okay, maybe something's just not quite right, which is why the first key dynamic and really first key level of resistance is the sooner the price can get back up above that pink line, the better, because that would put it right back on the trajectory that we were just looking at. But the longer the price stays below there, or worse yet, the further the price separates to the downside, that's just more evidence. That's just more kind of, clarification that, okay, yeah, wow, the bears are taking over. And not only are they taking over, they're just getting that much stronger in the process. So that's why, like I said, the sooner the price can get back above that pink line, the better. Current value of that, we'll call it $47.75. As far as next potential areas of support in regards to where the price could potentially find a bid, basically like we were just doing there on PLTR. If I could grab that line, there we go. Next key level to watch would be down there right around the 44.85 mark. And then after 44.85, next key level down there right around 43.85. So those would be the next couple of areas of support. But yeah, as of today, not a very good day at all. So that wraps up the top 10. And like I said, just one final invitation. If you did enjoy what you saw and you're kind of seeing some value into, okay, yeah, I can see how these things called technical charts are worthwhile, and sure, nothing's perfect, but as far as just helping me make good, solid decisions as a trader, I can see the value in them, but I would like to learn more. I want to know how they can be used, how they should be used, the philosophy behind them, how you can use them as a tool to get consistent. And like I said, get signed up for this class. It'll be, again, this Thursday, July 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So just keep that in mind, Eastern time, and just click the link to get signed up. And I'd love to have you join at the class, which again is truly a live class. And it'll be, I love to talk charts. So if you show up and you want to learn more, you're definitely going to get a lot more of that. As far as the top 10 video is concerned, if you enjoy these videos, then 2 requests for me. If you want me to keep making them because you like the format, hit that like button, leave a basic comment. It could be a smiley face emoji, but those 2 things go a very long way in telling me that, hey, Clay, please keep spending your time to do these. I like the format. I'm finding them helpful. And as long as I know people are benefiting from them, people enjoy them, then I will keep doing these top 10 videos. So do those 2 things, and that helps me out quite a bit. But yeah, like I said, if you want to learn more about charts, then definitely get signed up for the class.